You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. This is a big podcast. In fact, we were not going to podcast today because got a lot of other things going on. I was going to take a break, and then some major news just dropped. And I told Kathy, we got to drop everything we're doing. I'm not kidding. Okay, guys, not kidding. And podcast, we got to get this out. I cannot wait until the morning to get this out. We've got a lot of breaking news that we're going to get into, but this is the biggest right here at the top. Okay. All of Trump's troubles with Biden, I'm not talking about in general, with Biden, began with that phone call that he had with Zelensky when he was asking about Biden's Burisma cover-up and all the crimes connected to Burisma in Ukraine, which, by the way, have to have something to do with this war, this proxy war they've gotten us in with Russia and Ukraine. And everything that happens, you notice, has ties to Ukraine. You guys may not know this. Some of you do, I'm sure, but most probably don't. Michael Cohen, the scummy ex-lawyer of President Trump, his wife is Ukrainian. I mean, what the heck?
Oh.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah, but that's not the breaking news.
That's interesting.
This is about the D.C. federal kangaroo court against President Trump and the judge. The judge worked for Burisma.
Wow.
Listen to this. I know you can't make this stuff up. This is in the Gateway
it's all
Pundit.
Coming together.
Now, Burisma, if for those that don't know, that's the Ukrainian company that was paying Hunter tens of thousands of dollars a month to work at, even though he did no work. And it's the one that Biden threatened to use Obama to shut down foreign aid to Ukraine if they didn't get the prosecutor off of Burisma. I'm going to read this article from the Gateway Pundit, all right? And this is just massive breaking news. When Joe Biden's corrupt Attorney General Merrick Garland and this corrupt Jack Smith special prosecutor came out with this indictment, and we found out it went to this Obama-appointed judge, I would not have even imagined it was this bad, okay? Listen to this. Now, the Gateway Pundit, I'm going to read from the article now. The Gateway Pundit previously reported that President Trump has requested an immediate recusal of far-left anti-Trump U.S. District Judge Tanya S. Chutkan, Chutkan, who has been appointed to preside over the ongoing January 6th case in D.C. Trump has characterized the judge as a biased judge. That, no doubt about that, as this will let us know. Trump voiced his concerns and frustrations over the weekend on Truth Social, and Trump posted this to Truth. There is no way I can get a fair trial with the judge assigned to the ridiculous freedom of speech case. Everybody knows this, so does she. We will be immediately asking for recusal of the judge on very powerful grounds, and likewise for venue change out of D.C. She's been known for tough rulings against conservative defendants. In fact, NBC reported that she is the only federal judge in the nation's capital who has been sentencing January 6 defendants to terms longer than what the government recommended.
Right.
Think about that. So the prosecutor comes in, this is the sentence that the prosecution wants, and she says, no, that's not good enough, and hands out a stricter sentence. That is very unusual.
Yeah, very much.
Her political leanings seem evident from her past contributions to political causes. The judge, keep in mind, this is the judge presiding over Trump's case in D.C. The judge donated over $3,000 personally to Barack Obama's campaigns, according to public donation records, and then he appoints her to the Supreme Court. Like I said, that seems kind of crooked.
Wow.
Yeah.
A little.
And there's all the records are here. Adding fuel to Trump's claims of bias is her professional connections to Hunter Biden. Monica Crowley, the former Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs for the U.S. Department of Treasury, highlighted on Twitter that the judge and Biden, Hunter Biden, worked at the same law firm, Boies Schiller and Flexner, LLP. Open Secrets records show that Hunter Biden served as an attorney there from 2009 to 2014 when the judge worked as an attorney at the firm, even making partner in '07. Both Hunter and the judge left the firm in 2014. Hunter moved on to other endeavors, crack and hookers probably, while the judge left because she got appointed by Obama to be a federal judge. The work history of Biden, Hunter Biden, show that while she was a partner and Hunter was an associate attorney, that Hunter Biden, through the firm that she was a partner in, was the attorney for Burisma, the Ukrainian company in question. So in effect, as a partner, she was working for and receiving money from Burisma. Yahoo News says it is a fact that Hunter Biden and the judge were both employed by or partners of the firm. It's also factual that the firm provided services to the Ukrainian oil company Burisma, on whose board Hunter Biden served. The judge worked at the law firm from 2002 until the time of her appointment to the D.C. Circuit. It's just a repeat of that. So she, in effect, worked for Burisma. She received money from Burisma. She was a partner at the firm.
That's crazy.
Okay, so she gets money for every client at the firm.
This is where Hunter, I don't know how he ended up with a job there. Was it because of the Burisma connection, or is that how he got connected to Burisma?
Well, I don't know. He probably had to have a job through some law firm to help do some of his crooked dealings. I don't know, but that part doesn't matter. The fact, out of all the judges, they have to get a judge that has a Burisma connection that's that strong. It's bad enough that, they've been very sketchy about this in the media because they don't want you thinking about it too much. So originally, they were saying, well, they worked at the same firm together, but we don't know if they had any connections. Now we find out she was a partner, and Burisma was a client of the firm, and Hunter was the associate attorney. As a partner, that means she was getting money from all the clients, including Burisma. So the only judge they could find to oversee this Trump case is a Burisma judge?
Well, and I'm curious, when you put in to get a new judge or a venue, who decides that?
Well, I don't know how it works at the D.C. federal court, but here, that's Nina in the background. See how upset she is about this? Probably Amazon Prime at the door. I know, even she's like, this is amazing how corrupt this country is. But here in Miami, when they did this judge, it's done on a they put it on a wheel. And
but if you put in to get a new judge based on these kind of things.
The judge would have to recuse herself.
Oh, that's not going to happen.
No, it's never going to happen.
The only way that would, they have to do it, when you.
She'd have to say, I have all these conflicts with Burisma and Hunter and everything, so she's never going to admit that.
No, she won't admit it, but filing that motion is important because this will probably go to the Supreme Court, and lawyers have to have all these motions filed and go through the process. So, you have to make sure all your T's are crossed and I's are dotted when you do that. So when you go to the Supreme Court, they can say, did you do this? Did you do that? And you can say, yeah, we filed this. They rejected it. And you can show a pattern of this. But, it'll be very interesting next year. They're going to have the Georgia indictment coming soon. Trump himself said he's being indicted 4 times. So next year, it is going to be just there's going to be constant news about these cases, what's going on. I think the case in Florida I think the judge is going to toss it out. She's really making a lot of demands on Jack Smith, and she's really
this is what came out with her yesterday. So
she definitely seems like she's being very fair on this.
So the major big news is that the D.C. judge is a Burisma judge.
Right.
She was a Burisma lawyer through the law firm with Hunter. So they were trying to pass this off that she was just an associate attorney there, like Hunter. They have lots of attorneys, there's no connect. And now we find out she was a partner. That changes everything.
Oh, yeah. If you're a partner, for sure.
They judge shopped. This is, it kind of shows one of two things. Either everyone in Washington is involved in crooked business with the Ukraine, or they've got a small cell of people with this Ukrainian connection. I don't know.
Everything leads back to Ukraine.
Everything.
With Joe Biden.
Everything.
That is his.
That's where the money is.
That is him and Hunter's. That's that link is everything leads to the Ukraine.
Yeah.
With these two. Miranda Devine, she really needs to write a book on this.
And where's the media on this? They're checked out.
Well, obviously they're going to protect him because he's a Democrat.
Yeah.
Believe me, behind closed doors, they know he's a disaster. They know he's corrupt, but they're not going to go on TV and say that.
Yeah.
They're never going to do that. They're going to tell you the economy's great, everything's wonderful. Joe Biden he's a great guy. The country's doing better than ever. He just all he cares about is talking about the weather and his dead son and blah, blah, blah. It's like when Clinton had that meeting on the tarmac. They were just talking about the grandkids. Yeah,
Loretta Lynch.
You land a plane and go through all that expense and time and effort to discuss grandchildren. Like you can't talk about the grandkids on the phone.
And
give me a freaking break.
They said in an airplane with the air conditioning off. On the tarmac alone, give me a break. They didn't even have the Secret Service in there. It was ridiculous.
Obviously.
So anyway, that's huge news. Okay, so we've got a Burisma lawyer as the judge in the D.C. case of Trump. And what you said, Kathy, is very true. These motions and these stories are important because this is going to go to the Supreme Court. And I'll tell you something.
I agree, Will.
I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. But it sounds to me like this judge is not just a biased judge, but is a crooked judge. Because if she were not a crooked judge, she would recuse herself with this kind of connection.
She's an angry judge, and she's a Trump-hating judge.
Yeah.
Obviously. But I like Trump's new lawyer. He's got that one girl. She's good. I can't remember her name. But he's got a new guy who is on Newsmax.
Oh, he's very good.
And all the shows. And he's been on the Sunday morning shows. He's extremely measured, extremely intelligent. I hope he stays with the team. He's much better than the other guy he had speaking for them. He seems to really know his stuff. And he seems very serious. And anytime somebody says anything, he just gives a very measured, calm response that's completely based on facts. Yeah. And I'm really glad he's the one helping Trump and working through this and being his spokesperson. Now, that other guy that was
Well, they have.
This guy's much better.
President Trump has 4 legal teams. He's got, and the guy you're talking about, he's with the DC team,
which is good.
There's a New York team, there's a Florida team for the documents case, and there's an Atlanta team. They haven't even gotten that indictment yet. So that's massive. So we got a crooked Burisma lawyer as the judge in DC. Now, in Florida, there was a big happening yesterday that was very negative for the prosecution. But before we get into that, I just want to tell people, with your help, Kathy, about the mighty MAGA lion.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the mighty MAGA lion, obviously inspired by Trumpy Bear.
Right.
Okay. And Kathy and I wanted to create something that we could offer to listeners of the podcast and listeners to the radio show and viewers on YouTube. And we thought about some things. And I came up with the idea of a lion. And Dee, who is one of our Patreon supporters, and she's a moderator on my YouTube chat, has connections to get, stuffed animals and things.
She has a company that they make things for teams and stuff like that.
So she's got a lot of. We partnered with Dee. Yeah, and Kathy and Dee designed this lion, the mighty MAGA lion,
which took a couple months. It was back and forth tweaking. It was really between the two of us. Took a lot of tweaking, a lot of color choices, fabric choices. And we knew we wanted him to have a MAGA hat and the 45. And so I think he's absolutely adorable. We have one here, and Brian shows it on his live streams. And the face is perfect because I said to her, I want the face to be cute but fierce at the same time. And she nailed it with the face. It's just absolutely adorable. Yeah. I think he's so cute. Make a great Christmas gift for anybody who loves Trump.
And I just take I'll give you guys a little bit of inside
Very
baseball.
well made, too. Very well made.
Give you a little insight of what's going on here. It's at mightymagalion.com.
Right.
And it's an adorable lion, but he also looks tough. And, of course, he looks just like Trump. Trump's a lion. He's got the same hair as Trump. He's got his MAGA hat on with the 45 on the side. And this is a big entrepreneurial investment for Kathy and I and Dee, because we are not we bought, I'm not going to tell you how many, but we had to have these manufactured at a factory. Right. So we had to have them manufactured in advance. And actually pay for them in advance. So we've made a sizable investment into this. So it's an entrepreneurial thing. And the Mighty MAGA Lion is a collectible available only through us.
That's it. We're the only ones who have it. Plus, we have to. They're going to all get shipped here. We have to box them, ship them. There's shipping and handling and things like that.
When you get
it's a big to do. We're happy to do it though.
When you get your Mighty MAGA Lion, Kathy and I will be shipping it from our house to you.
That's right.
Everyone we're going to box and ship to you.
That's right.
So
they'll be arriving this fall. So we're excited.
So go to mightymagalion.com and order your Trump lion, mightymagalion.com.
It's a great way to support Trump and support us.
Absolutely.
This channel. It's really a great way to do it. And I think if you get one and put it under the Christmas tree, for any Trump lover, they'll just freak out over this.
Mightymagalion.com. Okay, so this judge in Florida, what she did yesterday was absolutely amazing, okay? So the judge in Florida, and remember, I've told you guys many times because it's so important, people in the media, they're stupid. They don't know what's going on. The area that the jury pool will be called from has voted over 70% for Trump, 71% Trump in the last election. And after everything that's going on now, it'll probably be over 80%. They're in the most MAGA parts of Florida, and Florida's the most MAGA state in the union, right? And the courthouse is in St. Lucie County, which is in a city called Fort Pierce, which is a small beach town. That's a MAGA county. The jury pool will come from 3 counties. St. Lucie County, which is a MAGA. This is the county where I told you they wear MAGA hats in the Starbucks. Okay, that's how serious it is. Okeechobee County, which is MAGA, and Martin County, which you often hear me refer to as MAGA Martin County. So that's where the jury pool is. There's no way they're going to get a conviction there. I mean, the best they can hope for is a hung jury because it's so pro-Trump. But anyway, the Trump-appointed judge, yesterday reprimanded Jack Smith and the prosecution team. And what she pointed out was something very sinister, okay? And this is what she pointed out. She really called them out on the carpet. They have a secret grand jury, and we don't know where. It could be the grand jury in D.C. that came with this indictment for January 6th against Trump. We don't know. But she said that Jack Smith has a secret grand jury somewhere out of the jurisdiction of that court, which is the Southern District of Florida. So it's somewhere else in America, another grand jury in secret that she doesn't seem to know anything about.
Awful.
Also trying to get an indictment in the documents case there to get another documents indictment to get another judge in another district and get another trial going.
Oh.
And that's not kosher. That's bad news. And she was furious about this. And this is huge stuff. In fact, it could very well lead to Jack Smith maybe getting disbarred or held in contempt or facing some ethics. And to me, it does look like she's going to toss at some point this case out.
I think she will. And I think that's really important for precedent, even though, if you have a liberal judge, it might not matter, but everything in the law is about precedent. And if she sets that precedent, other judges, I doubt the one in D.C., but other judges might be more likely to do it. Mm-hmm. And it's important because this really has never happened before. There really are no legal precedents for a lot of these things with a president. It's so important. And I think she is gearing up to, that's my prediction. I could be wrong, but I think she's going to toss this case out just on that alone, that they're basically have like a secret grand jury they're using. It's really incredible how I don't understand how liberals can be okay with this. I know they don't like Trump, but you have the president using the Department of Justice as his personal police force. This is the kind of stuff that happens in communist countries. And they use it as their own personal police force to go after their political enemies. And if you notice, anytime there would be something about Hunter that would come out, an indictment about Trump would follow right after. And I think they hold off on these indictments until it's timely. It doesn't mean that they're not going to indict him at all, but I think they time them in a way where they say, okay, this, because they know ahead of time things that are going to come out about Hunter. They get tipped off by the press. So they might get a phone call from CBS or something, and they might say, look, something's going to break in 3 days, so I'm just preparing you. There's this and that is coming out. There's a guy, a witness, this and that. So then Biden will call up Jack Smith. He'll be like, okay, let's do that indictment now. They've been holding off. I mean, I'm just guessing, but this is how Washington operates. Well,
there's secret grand...
And then they shift the conversation to Trump and the indictment, and nobody's talking about Hunter again.
The secret grand jury in the documents case that the judge was talking about, what happened is they got a judge where they're going to get a fair case, and Jack Smith can't handle that. So they're trying to get another indictment on the same case somewhere else to try to get another judge like this Burisma judge they have in D.C., and that's got to be criminal.
It is.
It's got to be criminal.
You can't do that. So she'll definitely she'll do something about
now,
that.
That they're judge shopping in a very corrupt way that I've never seen. Okay, now there's lots of breaking news today. That's only the beginning. Okay, there's another big breaking news story we're going to get to after the break. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be back right after this.
Are you tired of dealing with unwanted hair? You're not alone, but help is available with Syra. With Syra, experience the convenience and long-lasting results of their advanced IPL tech. No more razors or waxing hassles. Syra offers a safe, comfortable, and effective solution for hair reduction. Embrace silky smooth skin for good. With Syra, enjoy professional-grade hair removal in the comfort of your own home and embrace your natural beauty. What are you waiting for? Say goodbye to unwanted hair and hello to silky smooth skin. Go to Syra.online. That's TSIRA. Syra.online. The new novel from author Paul Antonio Azar is now available on Amazon. Blood Brothers, Born of the Blood. In Blood Brothers, step into an alternate tale of Vlad, the Impaler, and discover his humanity and family bonds instead of his infamous brutality. Follow the story of two brothers torn apart by ambition but bound by love as they navigate a world filled with magical realism, religion, werewolves, and the eternal struggle between good and evil. Blood Brothers is filled with revenge, romance, and humor with diverse characters that will leave you mesmerized. As the first vampires in history, Radu and Vladimir face a destiny that pits them against each other, but even in death, their supernatural difference brings them together once more. Blood Brothers is perfect for new readers and seasoned book lovers. Order your copy right now on Amazon. Blood Brothers, Born of the Blood, from author Paul Antonio Azar, in Kindle and paperback. Are you ready to unlock the secrets of fulfillment and manifest your wildest dreams? Then order your copy of the new book from author Brian C. Brown, Cracking the Code of Life, How to Unlock Your Door to Heaven on Earth. This empowering self-help book will revolutionize your approach to personal growth and manifestation, combining science, spirituality, and evidence-based techniques. This transformative guide gives you the keys to unlock your deepest desires. You'll discover an ancient, infallible 3-step process for receiving everything your heart desires. Cracking the Code of Life offers a unique perspective on unlocking your potential and manifesting your dreams. Are you ready to embrace the power within you and start living the life that you've dreamed of, the life that you deserve? Then order your copy of Cracking the Code of Life, How to Unlock Your Door to Heaven on Earth, from author Brian C. Brown. Available on BarnesandNoble.com, Amazon, and the author's website, KingBrianWorld.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Okay, now this one is also huge with Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis fired his campaign manager today. And listen to how they word this, Kathy. This is NBC News, and it's worded in similar ways everywhere. Now, so he fired his campaign manager today. He has gotten rid of at least half of his staff. I know they keep saying a third. He got rid of a third of his staff like 2 weeks ago. But a couple weeks before that, he laid off like a third of his staff. So he's at like half staff, maybe a third staff, and he's fired the campaign manager. This is how NBC News characterizes Ron DeSantis firing his campaign manager. Ron DeSantis replaces his campaign manager as he reboots his presidential campaign. Okay, a couple things here. Obviously, DeSantis is a Republican. NBC are liberals. You never hear liberals run interference for Republicans ever, but they are with DeSantis. They're downplaying this. He fired his campaign manager because his campaign is failing. And I got news for you, Ron DeSantis. It's not your campaign manager's fault. It's your fault.
Well, yeah, this is another reboot. And anytime somebody fires the campaign manager, didn't Trump fire his campaign managers or fire people along the way? So it does happen, but
Lewandowski.
Yeah.
And Lewandowski.
What was that about?
It was really a rough one. They brought in they brought in oh boy, I just forgot the guy's name, and I interviewed him on the podcast. The delegate wrangler who they brought charges again. Remember they put him in jail?
Oh, Manafort. Manafort, yeah.
They brought in Manafort, and Corey Lewandowski was like escorted out of the Trump Tower by security. It was like a weirdly on TV.
It does happen, but the difference is Trump was, the nominee, or this was before. Which election was that?
It was before the convention, so he wasn't the nominee yet. It was the first. It was
but
the
he
first
was leading
campaign.
in the polls. So his reason for doing it wasn't because he was losing. And he had to restructure everything. There was another scandal or whatever going on. This is because DeSantis is losing and he's not gaining ground and he's trying to find somebody to blame.
Well, the reason they got rid of Lewandowski is because they thought they were going to have a brokered convention.
Right.
And they brought him in because he knew how to do it, and you can't have two campaign. It was messy. I will. But the media didn't say, "Oh, he's just replaced his campaign manager." It was like, "Oh, a disaster."
But the reason for it was different than what's happening with DeSantis.
Manafort. Yeah, it was different, but it was still not pleasant, and it was
it's never a good look. But here you have somebody who's not gaining ground.
Like I remember watching Lewandowski being escorted out on TV with security carrying a box with his stuff, and it sucked. But the media made sure that we knew it was with DeSantis they're covering up. So here's what they write at NBC News.
Yeah.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is shaking up his campaign leadership, bringing in James Uthmeyer, his longtime chief of staff, as his new presidential campaign manager, the latest move in a reset that is now almost a month in the making. Out is Janera Peck, who served as DeSantis' campaign manager through his 2022 reelection and during the first 3 months of his presidential campaign. And by the way, in some new polls, Ramaswamy is now ahead of DeSantis in some new polls.
That's insane.
DeSantis has to change the dynamics, says DeSantis donor Dan Elbert. This is a realignment rather than a reset because both folks were already senior advisors. Okay, it goes on. This has
whatever you call it.
This has probably something to do with that big donor over the weekend saying if he doesn't make some changes, he's going to cut them off.
I think you're right.
It doesn't matter. He could have
Kellyanne Conway.
Kellyanne Conway couldn't save DeSantis.
I wonder if he has tried to hire her because she would be a good move on his part. Maybe he's offered her and she said no. She did get Trump elected. And if I was on the DeSantis campaign, I would have offered her whatever the hell she wanted and hired her. I don't think it would have made a difference, but she would have done a very good job, and you know what I mean. But maybe she didn't want to. Maybe because I've heard her say he's not going to win.
No, there's nothing.
So maybe she doesn't. She probably, if they offered it to her, she probably turned it down because she knows he's not going to win, and she knows it's a losing. She doesn't want to be attached to a losing candidate.
No, and
she wants to be attached to somebody that's going to win.
There's a new national Republican poll out. Donald Trump has extended his lead by 9 points over Ron DeSantis.
Wow.
In a new national primary poll, giving Trump a 42-point lead, despite being charged in a criminal case for the third time
worse and worse
last week. The figures in a polling memo for his campaign show that he leads the Republican field with 55% support. DeSantis has dropped to 13, down 5 points since June. It is the latest blow to the Florida governor on the day he fired his campaign manager and has embarked on yet another reset.
Yeah.
The poll
There's
found
nothing he can do to save this.
Mm-hmm. The poll found that 52% of Republicans say they're more likely to vote for Trump since his indictment last Tuesday for charges, and it's making him stronger. Pollsters asked likely Republican primary voters across America for their views. The results have a margin of error of 2.4 percentage points. They also showed that 75% of likely Republican voters believe the latest charges are a Department of Justice effort to distract from stories of Biden family corruption. President Trump is dominating the Republican primary field as the attacks from Biden's Justice Department continue to backfire, said one Trump campaign aide. The more voters see a weaponized two-tiered system of justice, the more they rally around President Trump. The poll also shows that in a head-to-head between Trump and DeSantis, just the two of them, all right, if there's nobody else in the camp, there's no Ramaswamys, there's no Chris Christies. Trump versus DeSantis, Trump would win by 36 points, 57-21.
That's pretty big.
A gap that has grown by 7 points since June.
DeSantis, I tell you, I wonder what he's thinking. He must be just, I don't know if he is still deluding himself or if reality has set in, and he must be just livid that things are not going his way, because I think after the last election with him and Miami flipped and he beat Charlie Crist by 20 points, I think it really went to his head. If you live in Florida, you know, DeSantis did not involve Trump in that campaign. And I remember we were talking about it on the show. And I said the reason he is not involving Trump, like Trump wasn't speaking for him, they weren't together. I said because he wants to see if he can win without Trump.
Yeah.
Even though he really is still using Trump, because this was before we knew he was a traitor. But he didn't want to have Trump campaign with him.
Yeah.
So he didn't. He campaigned without him, really. And so I think when he won, he took that as a sign that, well, I don't need him. And the people love me more than him. Well, that's not true. Trump still endorsed him and was very present in his campaign. And everybody assumed DeSantis was a MAGA guy. So that's why he won. But it went to his head. And as soon as that election happened, and as soon as he flipped Miami and as soon as he beat Crist by that much, those wheels were spinning and his ego got out of control, and the donors started coming in and the deep state and filling his head and pumping up his ego. And I wonder what those meetings are like now. He has got to realize that nothing is going to turn this around. And if Trump doesn't go to the debate, which I hope he does not go, those guys are going to have they could sit up there and bash Trump. They're going to look ridiculous doing that with him not there. But there's nothing he can do to turn this around. He should have waited. We all know this. He's impatient. And I don't think there's anything he can do. Trump even said if he gets convicted, he's going to still run. There is nothing that can change the course for DeSantis. And I just am so curious what those meetings are like, or what his private time is like with his wife. Do they people rationalize things? Does he try to rationalize it? And does he listen to Jeb Bush? Oh, don't worry, slow and steady wins the race. Or is he furious? I see him around these people, and I see him when he's interacting. He looks pissed off to me. He does not look happy. When you see him on interviews, he looks like a man whose things are slipping through his fingers, and he knows it. And you're going to start seeing that after the debate. There'll be no movement. And once that debate is over in a couple weeks, and there's no movement on his needle, that's it. It's over. Nobody's going to give him any more money ever again, because the debate is when those needles move. That's, you know what I mean? But if there's no Trump, there's not going to be any movement anyway. There's nobody there to combat. So things are just not going to go well for this guy. How long do you think it'll be before he's definitely going to have to drop out? The money's drying up. He's redoing the campaign. I don't know what they can do to fix it. When do you think he's going to announce that he's dropping out, and what do you think he's going to say about it?
Well, we're far away from, the first primaries are after the New Year, so we're far off.
Caucus in Iowa's in January.
But DeSantis is running. See, what's going on, there really are no other opponents against Trump. These are all fake opponents,
exactly.
Okay? And I was talking on the morning stream about this. Chris Christie's qualified to be into the debate, and they got to raise a lot of money to do this. The reason Chris Christie is running is his backers. I don't know where he's getting the money, but it's all fake. He's a nasty guy, right?
Probably the Democrats.
And the Never Trumper Republicans are behind Chris Christie,
right,
because the only reason that Chris Christie has a presidential campaign, there's only one reason. They know he's not going to win anything. In fact, there was a poll that came out yesterday. He's the most disliked Republican.
Well, they're wasting their money.
No, they have
throwing
a plan.
It away.
Well, they have a plan that's not working out.
Obviously,
the Never Trumper Republicans are backing Chris Christie to the point to allow him to qualify to be on these debate stages, with the fantasy that he is going to be on a debate stage with President Trump, and he'll be able to tear up President Trump, because Christie is very good at debating, and he's nasty.
Yeah.
But Trump's not going to do any debates, so it's wasted money.
Do you think that's why Trump is not doing that debate? Because he knows
it's a setup.
That it's a setup. Exactly.
Of course
he's not going to walk. Not that he would lose, but I think he knows it's a setup. He knows what Christie's capable of. I don't think it would change anything, but why should he help? Why should he help facilitate that? I don't blame him. He shouldn't show up. He should just wait till they got one guy left. And it might be Vivek. It might be him. And then, he can pull out some of the stuff we've learned about him and all this. But a lot of people are really obsessing over Trump's running mate and who's he going to pick. A lot of people talk about it, and it is interesting, and we do want to know. You're not going to know anything till like next summer. And I don't know who it's going to be, but I tell you, it will be somebody that Trump deems extremely loyal. It could be Carrie Lake. It could be somebody, Brian Mast or Byron Donaldson. Well, they're from Florida, so they can't do that. But it's going to be definitely not somebody that's part of the swamp. I can promise you that. I think it's going to be another business person or somebody not affiliated with Washington at all. I think he learned his lesson with Mike Pence.
Yeah, so the debates, I don't think Trump's going to do any debates and let them spend their money. At some point real soon, they're going to see that this is the thing. They hate Trump so much they can't see clearly. They don't understand him. And they think that he's like pathetically insecure, and they're going to be able to trick him to do a debate so that Chris Christie can yell and bark at him.
No, that won't work
it's
anymore.
Not going to happen.
I think Trump has learned a lot, and I don't want to say he's jaded, but I think he is a little bit on Washington, and I don't think the flattery that worked before it works with him anymore. I think he's finally realized that people would tell him what he wants to hear, appeal to his ego, to get their inroads with him. And I think he has realized that, and I think he's smarter. I mean, he's smart anyway, but I think he's wiser to the fact of this. And he has said that himself. He has said, "I'm going in with a whole new perspective."
Exactly.
And I think the first time he went in very naive, thinking these people would be his friends. He really had a hard time with the media. He really was in shock that they were so mean to him. And it really bothered him for so long. And I think he's over that, and he realizes none of these people, there's no friends in politics. None of these people are my friends. And I have to stop trying to make them like me or say nice things about me. It's not going to happen. And I think he's finally accepted this, and I think that's a good thing because he needs to move past that for sure.
Now, I want to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program and remind all the Patreon supporters that we have a new feature on our Patreon page. It's available only to Patreon supporters, where Kathy and I make videos exclusively for you guys and put a new one up today. So go and check that out on the Patreon page, okay? Now, our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you on each and every podcast episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Rome, Wisconsin, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, Arctic Fox, Heather, David, Richard, and Melissa. These are our top Patreon supporters. Now, if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the episode description on whatever platform you're listening to us on, as well as my website, BrianCraigShow.com. And the direct URL is patreon.com/Real Brian Craig Show. Patreon.com/Real Brian Craig Show.
Step into the exciting world of boxing history with the book Rivals in the Ring, 15 Greatest Boxing Rivalries of All Time, from author Andrew Dalziel, available on Amazon. In Rivals in the Ring, witness the fierce intensity and emotional drama that defined boxing's most legendary rivalries. You'll feel the adrenaline as these titans clashed, both in and out of the ring, leaving nothing but pure passion in their wake. You'll learn about the harsh realities of boxing. Some battles led to life-changing injuries and tragic losses, reminding us of the sacrifices these warriors made in the name of greatness. When you read Rivals in the Ring, you'll embrace the evolution of boxing as it intersects with medical advancements, ensuring the safety and well-being of today's fighters. This must-read book sheds light on the sport's transformation and its impact on the lives of fighters. Rivals in the Ring uncovers some of boxing's most noble moments over the past 120 years, while also tackling the challenging aspects that test boxing's integrity. Order your copy right now on Amazon. Rivals in the Ring, 15 Greatest Boxing Rivalries of All Time, from author Andrew Dalziel. Have you thought about starting your own business? Maybe you're already in business and looking for a new opportunity. Then order your copy of How to Start an Ignition Interlock Business, available online at theinterlockbook.com. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out, this ebook offers invaluable insights and methods to ensure your ignition interlock business flourishes while prioritizing public safety with various ignition interlock services. With How to Start an Ignition Interlock Business, you'll learn how to find the right ignition interlock partners, how to decide on the best business model, and understand various types of services. You'll discover how to analyze potential service center locations, how to streamline business operations, and how to navigate the process of applying for the right business licenses. This downloadable ebook is packed with exclusive, indispensable information you will not find anywhere else. Don't wait any longer. Take advantage of the opportunity and order your copy right now. How to Start an Ignition Interlock Business, online at theinterlockbook.com. Share the link on all of your social media so your friends can take advantage of this opportunity too. theinterlockbook.com. This Christmas, join Rain on a magical adventure in a heartwarming children's book that will delight the entire family. Is Santa Claus Coming or Not? From author Nicole Scurfield. Available on Amazon. Rain is determined to find out if Santa Claus is really coming to town on Christmas Eve night. Join Rain on her quest to discover the truth and experience the joy of Christmas together. Is Santa Claus Coming or Not? Is perfect for parents, grandparents, and teachers for classroom reading. Share the wonder of Christmas and order your copy of Is Santa Claus Coming or Not? From author Nicole Scurfield on Amazon. The new book from author William Thien is now available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. The Dream Chip. In The Dream Chip, meet David O'Rourke, an intelligence agent turned uploader for the TimeLink Corporation, a futuristic technology company. His mission, capture the thoughts and memories of the deceased and store them in the Will of Memories, a protected vault of supercomputers. But there's more to the TimeLink Corporation than meets the eye. They're also the creator of the Common Council software program, which empowers citizens to have a say in government decisions. This revolutionary system threatens the power of a group known as the Civocrats, who are determined to maintain their control at any cost. As tensions rise, their leader organizes a mob to attack the TimeLink Corporation. The fate of the future is hanging in the balance. The Dream Chip takes you on an adventure filled with technology, political intrigue, and the power of human memory. Order your copy right now on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. The Dream Chip from author William Thien, and uncover the secrets that lie within.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. So we got another update from the liberal world of California about crime. There's a big article in the Daily Mail today. Lifelong Oakland resident joins exodus from city as she cannot take the soaring crime, and NAACP leaders are calling for a state of emergency. Her name's Kristen Cook, black woman. She's leaving Oakland with her son because of rising crime. She says, I can't take it anymore. I've got to the point I was too scared to leave my house. Burglaries are up 41% in the last year. Robberies have increased by more than 20%, according to police data. Rapes are up 12%. Police now tell homeowners to invest in steel braces to protect their properties and even encourage people to buy air horns to sound off if they're targeted. Yeah, that's like car alarms. Who pays attention?
Wow.
You know, crime is so bad in California. I watch on YouTube some YouTube channels that go to movie locations where movies were filmed, like long ago. And I was watching a video the other day. They went to the filming locations in Los Angeles for Terminator, the original Terminator. And they go to these houses and stuff. Like they went to, if you remember in the original Terminator, Schwarzenegger, he takes the page out of the phone book with all the Sarah Connors. And remember, he knocks on a woman's door. Sarah, are you Sarah Connor? Yeah. And he shoots her. He went to that house, which was on a nice, beautiful street. It's got a brick wall, not just in front of the house, but in front of all the houses on both sides of the street. And they went and I noticed, as I'm watching these different movie locations, when they go to residential neighborhoods and you look at them, and these are mostly I watch movies that were filmed in like the 80s, like I watched another one with Back to the Future and I saw a similar thing. They show these places from the 80s, what it looked like in the movie, and then today, and there's walls that didn't exist and massive fences that are taller than people in front of these houses, and it's because of the crime in California. And I got news for you. Sounding off the air horn, no one's going to come and help you. When you hear car alarms go off in parking lots, has that ever stopped anyone?
No.
Well,
this lady, she's leaving. I wonder where she's moving to, but I can't for the life of me understand why they're allowing such. I mean, Democrats never did a good job running cities.
No.
That's true. But all of a sudden in the last few years, why are they just really, why is it so bad?
I'll tell you why. Okay.
I can't understand why. It doesn't make the Democrats look good. It's making people vote Republican.
Okay. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, the two of them have incarcerated in prison more black people than anyone else since the days of the slave trades. Okay, they put so many black people in prisons for sentencing guidelines. And Bill Clinton came in with that 3 strikes you're out, and they had enhanced crimes for crack cocaine and stuff. The prisons, when it comes, not the white collar prisons, but the violent felon prisons, okay, the hardcore felon prisons, the black population of the prisons is far out of whack to the black population of the country as a whole. So there's been all this talk for decades about, the justice system is racist. The prisons are mostly African Americans.
White liberal guilt.
So black people started believing this, that the system, that these weren't criminals.
And you have these DAs too that won't punish people.
So they started believing their own BS that the justice system is racist, that all these good kids that were going to be architects and doctors got jammed up by and they're in prison for these felonies.
So it's just a woke ideology run amok.
Yeah. So George Soros came in and started putting in these radical DAs around the country in these liberal places, and they stopped arresting people. They stopped doing all kinds of things, and criminals are no longer afraid. I saw a guy.
It's true.
Today on Twitter, this was from a video that someone had put on TikTok, and I saw it on Twitter. He has done this several times. He went into a convenience store, and he had a big garbage can on wheels that belonged to the convenience store, and he was just going through the store and filling it up, the bag. And
they do nothing.
And the store clerks jumped him, and they clubbed him.
And they get in trouble.
They're arrested. They're facing charges.
I don't understand that
and
at
he's
all.
done this before to the store. And they have this one law in California. I know some of you listening will know the dollar amount. I don't recall. We don't have to worry about such things in Florida.
I think.
There's a certain amount that you can shoplift without persecution.
Yeah.
And I'm sure many of you, like I have seen videos of these criminals. They got all their stolen goods, and then they stop. They sit down on the store and start adding it up to make sure they're under the limit so they can walk out with it without getting arrested.
You go to a Target or a Walmart or a drugstore, you can get a lot of stuff for $1,200. I mean, you can load up on razors, nail polish, makeup, anything really. I mean, those things there are not super expensive. It's not like you're going to Tiffany's here. I mean, you can get a ton of stuff. I could go drop $1,200 at Target and come home with a lot of things, or Walmart especially. And you're right. They're not that woman at Lowe's or Home Depot that stopped those people. She got in trouble. She got fired. Everything is backwards and wackadoo. It's insane. And most Americans, 98% of Americans, see how stupid this is. But these people in charge, like that guy that's running Chicago now, they had that big riot, and he had some other word for it. He wouldn't call it a riot. He called it like a social gathering that got a little out of control. They refuse to condemn crime because they don't want to they don't want to hurt the black community, but they really are hurting the black community.
Well, they're racist. They associate blacks with crime.
Well, these are black people that are running, like the DAs and the mayor of Chicago, and they just don't want to put black people in jail because they feel that enough of them are incarcerated, and they don't want to.
Well, that's how this happened.
Yeah, it's an ideology, but
it's the stupidity of wokeness.
Well, I see the wokeness slowly shifting. It's definitely happening.
Dylan Mulvaney is we can thank for that.
Yes, Dylan Mulvaney definitely got the wheel to turn on that, and they had the Bud Light air on. They interviewed him on Daily Mail, and he said, it's good to be inclusive and all that. He said, but you don't put it on a beer can. And he said, Bud Light's always been America's beer, and he said it's no longer like that because they forgot their audience and who they were appealing to. He said, you don't make a big deal about these other things. And
well, you know what it is?
He said they've destroyed the brand forever.
When I went to college, I had a double major, history and education. And I had to take all these education classes, and they were all liberal with liberal professors. It was awful. And I remember we had to read a book it's a very popular book in the education field. Some of you might have heard of it. It's called Savage Inequalities. And Savage Inequalities is the title. I'm sure it's available, on Amazon for a penny or something. And it talks about how bad it is in certain school districts around the country, very detailed. And they're always black, the districts that are so bad. There's a reason why these high crime areas are high crime or they have bad schools. And areas like we live in a multiracial neighborhood. Okay, we're very, very racially diverse neighborhood that we live in. We do not live in some lily white area, but we have some of the best schools in the area. And the reason we moved here was because of the schools. We moved here the summer before our daughter started kindergarten, and she went K through 12 at the schools in our neighborhood. And we moved here because of the schools. The reason that these neighborhoods have bad schools and that don't perform well, where kids don't learn to read or write or do math, or they have high crime, is because the community tolerates it and puts up with it. See, in our neighborhood,
well, they keep electing these people, like the woman in San Francisco. They keep electing these Democrats. They're going to get
they're going to
get.
Like here, when we have minor crimes in our neighborhood, there's like a dragnet out. I've told you guys many times about the stolen bike across the street. This was insane to me. I couldn't believe when this was a few years back, and some kids came down the street and they stole the bicycle from the kid across the street. He was inside. The kid across the street was inside his house. His bike was leaning against the house. I called the police because I knew the kid since he was a little kid. I called the police. They had 5 police cruisers show up for a stolen bicycle because in our neighborhood we don't put up with crime. They had 5 police cruisers. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. And there was a recent incident. One of our neighbors had their car broken into in the middle of the night and had a couple things stolen. We had a detective was knocked on everybody's door on the street, took statements, asked for the video footage from people's doorbell cameras and stuff. You know what I mean? But in these liberal cities, they think the cops are the bad guys and that the criminals are the good guys. They got things in reverse. And now what you're seeing, like this lady in Oakland, and then yesterday we were talking about that lady in San Francisco. People in these liberal places are starting to wake up and say, you know what? The criminals are the bad guys.
They're finally, exactly. And I think there was always an acceptable level of crime in these cities that people were used to.
Liberal cities, yeah.
Yeah, and the people that live there, like Oakland or Chicago or whatever, they were used to it. They grew up that way. But even for them, it's like out of control. Okay, I want to tell you, this is now on Twitter, and I retweeted it for you. Abbott has installed, I don't know if this is true, but Benny Johnson tweeted it, and it's all over Twitter. He has installed circular saws, just the regular saw, between the Rio Grande border buoys to stop migrants from coming.
Oh, my goodness.
2 people have been
Who's done this?
Greg Abbott.
The governor of Texas?
I've seen...
Come on.
Yeah, circular saws. I'll just retweet it for you. I think that's a bit extreme. I'm sorry. Circular saws on the border to prevent illegal migrants from crossing. Bridget Gabriel just tweeted that she's a big conservative. Benny Johnson, they're showing it. Do you see it there?
I'm watching.
If that's true. I don't know.
I'm watching the video. Okay,
that. If these are women and children.
Okay,
I don't think that's a good idea.
Okay, this is what. No. Okay.
Do you think that's true? They're showing them.
It's not. Okay. It's not a circular saw that's set up to cut wood or anything with. What they've done is they put these sharp saw blades. I don't know if they're saw blades or just look like
still sharp. Yeah.
And what they've done is they put the saw blades, which are very sharp, around the mechanisms that connect the buoys together so that the buoys cannot be easily separated by people. So what's happened, what Greg Abbott has done is pretty amazing. He's put these buoys up.
I think the buoys are good, but I don't know how I feel about these saws.
He's put these buoys up in the middle of the Rio Grande, and they say it stopped many thousands of illegals from crossing.
You got to do it.
They know the areas of the river where they cross. But I guess it looks like what's happened is the buoys are these big orange round balls. They're connected together. I guess the illegals or the cartel, whoever, have been going out to the buoys and disconnecting them. So they put these sharp blades around where they're connected.
Right.
It's so that you can't easily separate the buoys and get them out of the way.
Or even would want to.
Exactly. It's like having it's like having razor wire on a fence.
Wire. Yeah.
Well, razor wire is different than barbed wire. Barbed wire has those sticky things. Razor wire is very sharp at the top. It's worse than barbed wire. Okay. So it's kind of like it's having razor wire around the mechanisms on the buoys. I think it's fine.
Well, and I just
and if you don't illegally enter the country, you got nothing to worry about.
That's true.
Now, if they just put some gators out in that water, then they'd be set. Then nobody would jump in it.
That's all you got to do right there, right? They just put the gators out there. Okay, then I just tweeted there was a huge lineup in New Hampshire today. Trump was there.
I watched that.
With Brian Mast, a Florida guy, and from my dad's area, Stewart. And he had a huge crowd. It was raining. Huge crowd, indoor thing. And it's not just that there's a lot of people that go there. You know, you notice when you see these things and we watch Trump speak, it's the love these people have. They still love this guy even more than ever. They see the government trying to stick it to him, trying to set him up, frame him, whatever you want to call it. And like you said with the polls, it's helping Trump. He's even talked about that. He says, remember, he said one more indictment and I'm a shoo-in. They all see what's happening, and the love that these people have for him is just amazing. And that's something you just can't capture in a bottle and sell it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now
people are so loyal to this guy, like you guys are, like we are.
Yeah.
They love him. The love has not waned. It's actually gotten stronger. And I really hope these people, like this woman in Oakland, put two and two together and realize, let's see, Oakland, California, Democrat mayor, Democrat governor, Democrat representatives. Gee, maybe there's a pattern here. Maybe I should try voting for Trump. What the hell do I have to lose? You know what I mean?
So,
he should revamp that slogan.
A new poll just dropped out of New Hampshire. And
Trump was there
in the
today.
new poll, it was a great speech today. And President Trump talked for about 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, and this new poll, this is amazing. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has fallen to single digits in New Hampshire.
Oh, my gosh.
One of the three states the DeSantis campaign has primarily focused on.
That's for sure.
According to the latest poll. The survey asked Republican primary voters, if the 2024 Republican primary for President of the United States was held today, who would you vote for? Donald Trump remains number one with 43% of the vote. No other candidate comes remotely close or breaks double digits. Both DeSantis and Christie tie for second place with 9% each.
Oh, boy. That's it. That's not
so.
good.
I mean, he's done.
He's done. I mean, if he's down in
DeSantis
the single digits,
is done.
He
Single
is start,
digits.
What's going to happen is by next
That's
week.
probably why he fired the campaign manager, because he knew that was coming out.
By next week, there'll be somebody ahead of him. He'll be the third in line now. He'll be the third. There's a trend, and I'm telling you, by the end of August, Labor Day, DeSantis will be over. He will get no more money from anybody, because once you have to build momentum and show people that their money is producing something, that that the donations and what they're doing and all the time they're putting into you. So what'll happen is somebody else will move ahead of him, and they're going to start supporting that guy. These are the anti-Trump people, or they're just going to give up. I think they're really, really trying to get Youngkin to jump in, and I don't think that's going to happen. He's not stupid, because he sees what's happening with DeSantis, and he's like, I don't want that to happen to me. I mean, I'll destroy my career.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's just craziness. And I think this politically, to me, is almost parallel to the Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light debacle. You are seeing the rise and fall of a political star that's happening in real time so fast. You know what I mean? Like Ron DeSantis rose up because of Trump, became governor twice, very beloved here in Florida. And now he's just plummeting because of his own ego and his own selfishness. And it's just incredible to see in such a short time how he's gone up and down. It's crazy. But yeah, after Labor Day, that's it. It's after the debate, he's done.
Now, I want to tell you guys that Mike Lindell at MyPillow.com, of course, has incredible specials. You can save up to 80% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at MyPillow.com. And anytime you use our promo code Kane, Kane at MyPillow.com at checkout, you're supporting all the content I'm connected to. And that's, of course, greatly appreciated. And you can use our promo code on any of the specials you see there. I'm going to talk, though, about the MyPillow 2.0, which is buy one, get one free. And the MyPillow 2.0 is the one with the cooling technology. We have a heat wave going on here in Florida. The heat index was 116 degrees in the area today. 116 degrees. Pretty crazy, huh? And the MyPillow 2.0 with cooling technology, no matter what the temperature is, keeps your head and face the perfect temperature all night long. You will never flip the pillow over looking for the cool side. And during the hot summer months, it's wonderful. It really is. It will change the way you sleep forever. It has the same patented fill inside that Mike Lindell invented and put in the original MyPillow, but the material on the outside is made with this new cool technology material. It's amazing. So go to MyPillow.com, order your MyPillow 2.0. It is buy one, get one free with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And remember, you can use our promo code on any of the specials you see at MyPillow.com, not just the ones that I highlight. Well, listen, guys, thanks for tuning in. My name is Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll talk to you next time.
Brace yourself for an unforgettable journey into the heart of heroism with From Flames to Valor, a firefighter's journey, the new book from professional firefighter, deputy chief, and author Jose L. Barrios. In Flames to Valor, step into the boots of a true hero as you traverse the world of firefighting, a world filled with danger, courage, and sacrifice. Follow along as they face roaring infernos, risking everything to save lives and protect their community. You'll witness the human side of heroism as they navigate through challenges, proving that true valor lies not in bravery, but in resilience. This must-read book will leave you breathless and inspired, reminding you that heroes are not born, but forged through determination and unwavering spirit. From Flames to Valor, a firefighter's journey, from author Jose L. Barrios, is available on Amazon and all major online booksellers. Order your copy today and experience the heart-stopping, heartwarming tale of what it truly means to be a hero. Order your copy right now.